Martin. This is really stupid.
The bloom table.
New seed, new soil, Lord, let it rain on me. New fruit, new oil, Lord, let it pour on me. Let's go season for season. I got this bloom for a reason. Let's go season for season. I'm rooted in God, I'm not leaving. Welcome to the garden. You about to witness the results of the harvest. Yeah, if you ready to grow, let us know. Tune in, leave a like in the comment. Yeah, you may have grown up in bad soil,
Shut up,
but
Martin.
Jesus can turn it around. As long as you're willing to grow, His sunlight will keep coming down. Come have a seat at the table. You know that God is still able.
Boom! Guess who stepped in the room?
Welcome to another episode of Bloomies. I'm Rosie.
I'm Cupcake. I'm Baxter.
I'm Mish.
And today we will be discussing forgiveness. And we're going to start with Cupcake. What does forgiveness mean to you?
Forgiveness is peace. It is freedom. It's a real life love language.
Yeah.
Not just for you, but for the person you're forgiving, even if they don't know that you're forgiving them. It's a healing thing. It's a healing property that you didn't even really know you needed. It is a beautiful thing, and I'm gonna leave it at love language because that is something that we can all understand.
Yeah. So what do you know about forgiveness now that you didn't know before?
The peace that comes behind it for you. Even if you can't get an apology or you're mad at somebody for something or you are offended by a comment or anything with correction or regardless of what it is, when you're offended and you hold on to that, it eats you away.
Yeah.
It literally eats up at you. You overthink it. You're upset. And that's all you think about is being offended and being angry. And you're over there sitting like, oh my God, they didn't share their chips with me. And they're like, oh, well, why do they have attitude?
Right.
You know, because sometimes it could be so small that you're so mad about and the other person is dealing with their own thing, not even realizing that you're upset.
Yeah.
And now you're walking around with unforgiveness and they're big chilling.
Yeah.
They're big chilling. They have no idea that you're upset.
Right.
So it's kind of like, how dare you put yourself through that? Right. Where's the joy and peace and love for yourself?
Right.
That's when love language comes in. Where is that for you?
Right. I think that's really good. I think we had discussed that earlier. I feel like forgiveness keeps you offended. Yeah. So it's like you're not forgiving someone. And so like you're angry and you're uptight. Everything they do is going to offend you. So now you offended. You can't do nothing. Nothing's getting in. Nothing's getting out. You're offended. Everything they do is like, oh, why they breathing like that? They chewing like that. And everything is just upsetting now because you're offended.
Yes.
So like it's like literally, you know, unforgiveness be like, yo, offended, let's go. Like, you know, they call one in like, your turn. And then they're like, you know, so I like, that's a super good point because I really feel like, you know, unforgiveness really just kind of brings an offense, which is like one of the worst. So.
Literally. And not also to touch on self-pity. Because once you get that, it's the whole woe is me. How do you expect to grow? And the woe is me is just there. Nobody grows from that. You will stay stagnant. And who wants to stay stagnant? We're bloomies for a reason because the growth is what's happening. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I think, you know, and like I think I heard somewhere someone said like, you know, once you stop growing, like you're dead.
Right.
You know, like you continue to live, to grow, to have another chance to do better. Yes. And it's like, why waste your chance? Because you mad at somebody else because you don't want to forgive them because they smudged your Puma. I don't know. Whatever it is. Like, whatever it is.
Literally holding grudges for something that happened 12 years ago. Grow up.
Right.
Like, what is the point of staying there? It's crazy.
Yes.
You know, we all have our healing. And once you realize that you can have the forgiveness for yourself, it is an amazing feeling.
Right.
It's something that you really never experience. Because, like, once you let God in and then he's like, well, forgive yourself. Oh, you can forgive yourself? Okay, that's cool. Right. And then you can forgive them. It's like, how dope is that?
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's like a whole circle of forgiveness that rounds into self-love.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Rosie, what does forgiveness mean to you?
Forgiveness for me is something that is very big. Because, you know, by us holding on to unforgiveness, that can send us to hell. So for me, it's a big thing. Before being saved, like I was a grudge holder.
Yeah.
Like I had that real bad, like you did something to me and I'm never going to forget it. I'm never going to let it go. When I see you, I might say something about it depending on how I feel that day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be mean. I'm going to be nasty about it. Like I'm not going to be like, well, you wronged me. Like it's not going to be like that. Like I'm really going to express myself. But being in that type of space, it really just keeps you bound. It's like you're mad at someone for not giving you something that they don't have, which is just unrealistic. So for me, it was like I had to ask myself, like, was Jesus dying on the cross not enough?
Yeah.
You know, Jesus died on the cross for our sins. He went ahead before we was even here.
Yeah.
Like, I know y'all gonna mess up. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of it.
Yeah.
So if Jesus can forgive me for all the things and God can forgive me for all the things, it's like, what are you saying to God? Like, oh, so he only covered 85% of sin? Or did he cover all sin?
Yeah.
So for me, that's like my process to it. Like, okay, Jesus died. He was murdered. He was crucified. He was tortured. Was that not enough?
Yeah.
You know, what am I saying to him? You know, I forgive because I'm forgiven. Even now, like, it's important to me, like, I'll apologize. Not that I want to be in the seat where I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I keep messing up, you know, but I like growing into that forgiveness, learning how to forgive others taught me how to go to other people for forgiveness. So for me, it's huge because it's like, if I'm clear and God said I'm clear, there's nothing you can do whenever you want to decide you want to be upset about it again or be mad and come, because it's like, no, because I'm free. And he whom the Son says free is free indeed. So you can't do that to me. And I think that in itself is a freeing feeling to know, like, hey, I've forgiven people or I've sought someone for forgiveness for my wrongdoing. And it's like, that takes it off of me too. You know, so it's super important because it's like, how can you come to God with what you need or what you want and trying to express something to him, and he's all forgiving, and you mad at Pookie and them from 5 years ago because of what they did? It's just holding you back. For what? You know, free yourself.
So is there an expectancy of that someone has to ask you to forgive them? So if I ate the last cake that was yours, I went in the refrigerator and I knew it was yours, and I stole it, and I ate it, and I had the little cream left over when you came, like, I know this heifer did not just eat my cupcake. And it had the cream filling with the strawberries.
Right.
And I don't ask you to forgive me, but I ask you for the napkin to wipe my mouth from your cupcake. Does that apply when I don't ask for forgiveness, that you still forgive me?
Yeah. I think you know, it goes back into the same thing. You know, we have to forgive people, even though it's annoying, because you know, like when you be waiting for something all day, you coming home like, boy, I'm about to tear that up. When I get there, them strawberries was hidden, the cream was just right. I can't wait. That was the last one at the shop. They only serve those on Wednesday. It's Thursday. I'm about to tear that thing. Like, boy, when I get home, it's going down. And then you standing there with the cream. It went down, but for you,
my stomach.
And I'm like, like, you know, like, I think it's important to you still have to forgive. Now it might take you a second. Nah, I'm not gonna let no cupcakes send me to hell.
Right.
So that's out. It's like, you know what? Wednesday comes back around. I'll just get another one. But you have to forgive the smallest of things, the biggest of things. You have to forgive, because that smallest of the things can still be that thing to send you to hell. Hell ain't small.
No.
It's enlarged itself. So, I mean, for me, it's important because I got to be clear. Because, you know, it's just like they said at church today, like, you will be held accountable for all these things. And imagine going up there and you go to hell for something just so silly and superficial. And the other people, the person that you mad at don't walk past you and slid right into heaven.
Right.
That's stupid.
That's real.
That's crazy. So, no, I got to forgive all things. Big things, little things, kind of upsetting, not upsetting, super upsetting. Whatever it is, I have to forgive it because I got to be clear. It's for me. It's literally like they said, unforgiveness is like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to be sick. Right. It's like, you know, the offense thing. It's like they all offended and you running around. It's just dumb. It's like, just let it go. You'll feel better. You know, because I think that a lot of times, like when we see people sick, I think that's tied into unforgiveness. You walking around mad and angry and bitter and hurt and you just all types of crazy and mad. It's it makes you sick. It's
Right.
not good for you. So.
Falling down, catching stroke every 5 minutes.
And it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, well, they hurt me when I was 6. You are 58.
Right.
Okay? Let it go. Like,
Right. Let it go.
let it go.
Yes. Exactly. Sorry, I always have a song from
Right.
somewhere. It's always in my bosom. Sorry.
Right.
So basically, forgiveness is for the believer.
Absolutely. You know, it's just like I said, we forgive because we are forgiven.
Yes.
What if one day you went down in prayer and you're like, Lord, forgive me of my sins. And Lord's like, nah,
Yeah.
get up out of here.
Yeah.
Now what?
Devastated.
Devastated. Because once he tell you no,
Who can help you?
who gonna help you?
Nobody.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And it's like really, and I really apply that to my life. Like, okay, like what if one day God just was like, nah, I'm through with you. I done gave you enough chances. I'm not forgiving you anymore. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
There's none higher than him.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's a whole breakdown.
TD Jakes can't help me.
No.
Nobody helped me. Nobody. So it's like, you really have to think of that, because if we are calling ourselves Christians and we are supposed to be living this life modeled after Christ, who came and walked this earth, there's nothing that we've experienced that he has not experienced. So how can we then say, oh no, like I'm still mad, and like people did Jesus wrong, and he didn't do nothing to nobody. He was without sin. So it's like we walk this earth, we go through all this stuff, we treat people bad, we have a bad attitude, we talk to people crazy, we do all these things, and then have the nerve to just have no forgiveness for nobody. Like you never wronged nobody. That's just not realistic. You're not.
That's good right there. So Baxter, what is forgiveness for you? To you?
Okay, so forgiveness for me, I feel like it's the art and the freedom of letting go. In any situation, especially, well, obviously in a situation where forgiveness is needed, is where probably you're hurt or you got offended or all these different things. Maybe basically you were hurt in some way. And so you were able to say, okay, well, I'm not gonna let that affect me, and I'm gonna forgive them for that. And also, I think about, like, because we talk about how forgiveness or unforgiveness can cause a lot of hurt. And also, like you said, you're over here worried about the other person this whole time making you upset and the way that they made you feel, when that really comes back on you. And then it's like you said, it's like once you get to the gates and you're talking to God, and then he's like asking you, okay, basically once you get there, and then he's like, so you had all this time, yet you were so worried about them. Like, what happened? So, right, like she said, like they just, whew. And then it's like, so you just waste your whole life and you're worried about someone else, and you're stuck on their soul when you now your own soul is just very much in jeopardy. And I think for me, so we talked, or how you were talking about too, how unforgiveness also causes it could cause a lot of health issues. That stress is crazy. For real. And even for me, I believe wholeheartedly that, like, because when I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 16, I believe wholeheartedly that was from stress because of unforgiveness. Because I had so much, we're gonna get deep here a little bit, but I had so much just hurt and trauma from childhood, just like we talked about, growing up in foster care. And even though, I never thought ill will toward my mom or anything, or my family for it, at the same time, I had hurt from that I didn't even know. That was just unresolved, and you don't even know that it affects you until later on, and you look back and you're like, wow, this was a lot. But it was like foster care. It was, older brothers who were not on the same path. And I feel like a lot of the time in my life, I didn't have someone to really look up to. So I don't know, I just held a lot of unforgiveness and just a lot of maybe anger, how we talk about anger, bitterness, just all of these things. And then I was diagnosed with cancer, and then God was like, hey, like, I'm here, right? And you know that you're going through all these things, but you're not alone. And also, it's all for a reason. Like, it's for my glory at the end of the day, so there's that. And then I also feel like now, looking back 7 years later, being cancer free and just all these things, how God really just, yay, but but the way that God really put like me in those positions, and through many other things, but it's just like I said, it's like forgiveness is kind of like an art and letting go, and it's when you really you become free, like you said, free from bondage, essentially, like, and then you are able to break the chains that are on your life, the strongholds that are on your life, and that the enemy really sent to keep you bound and keep you in a box, and to never reach the light, or like we said, get out of the darkness that where I was before the cancer, or even from then on, like so that's really, forgiveness is crazy. And like you said, it's poison, and I think it's just, man, I don't know, it's a lot.
It is a lot. And then as you grow and you walk and you understand and you have those moments, those aha moments, those God moments that, you know, he just comes and sits with you and reveals things to you, you understand in a different light. Because as a child, you understand as a child, and you speak as a child, but when you are grown, you put away foolish and childish things.
Yes.
And so at this stage and point in your mind, would you ever go back and allow the devil to offend you so bad that you won't have forgiveness?
So I think at this day in my life, or stage of my life, absolutely not. And I think looking back when I was younger, it was definitely, like I said, the stress and all of the worry and everything. It was mostly like whys, because you get into that point, I think, before you're really saved, and you're like, why God, like why me, right. What, or not even necessarily, well, I guess, why me, but also why why my family, like what's going on, like why is this happening, you know? And it's like, and then also to the point when you're not all the way tapped in yet, and you haven't been told your call, and then you wonder, I know you're, like, I've heard, like, God, I know that you're real, and I know of you, but what about it? What is more to it? It's like, what's the more to it, and how am I, like, involved in this? How am I included in this? And then, so looking back, it's like that's how I was. And then, but now, and looking to now, no, absolutely not. I feel like in my heart, I'm way, beyond the unforgiveness, and I would love to just keep renewing myself and reminding myself that, because there's nothing that's going to keep me bound that has happened to me. It's no point, because how are we going to live every day focusing on what happened yesterday or years from now, like you said, like way back when I was whatever, like it has no point, and there's nothing in the past that can really like affect the future at this point. It's already dead and gone, as we say.
Because unforgiveness brings on the spirit of offense.
Yes.
Just like Cupcake talked about. Can we talk about your bracelets, off of offense? What does that mean to you?
Yes. So, shameless plug, Miss Sweets here. She does bracelets, and she gifted me with these ones. These say off of offense, and for me that means because how I dealt with unforgiveness, I've dealt with offense like crazy, and I didn't even realize it until really stepping into this walk and then being called out, because growing up, I never had that correction ever. My mom was my friend, and although I love her, you know, it's easier sometimes to just be a friend, especially in the circumstances that we had, being foster care. You know, you just want your kids back, and, you know, not that it's perfect, but nothing's perfect. So basically, basically for me, I became really offended because I wasn't used to correction. When you're not used to something that's new to you. And then for me, the correction was the love, and the love of a motherly figure or a fatherly figure that I didn't really have all the time. I wasn't used to it. So being able to say, like, no, actually that wasn't really right. So let's maybe try it this way. Or how you be just calling out things. Nah, you was wrong, so I'm gonna need you to fix it. Like, let's call it out now. So I think I love these bracelets, and I think this is really just another reminder of like my truth and God's truth for me. Because it's really time. Like when the forgiveness goes, you pack that thing up. You pack all those things up. You put it in a box and you send it on its way. And like we talk about, laying it at His feet, the offense, the bitterness, the unforgiveness, it's all at His feet, and we do not pick it back up.
That's right.
We stand, we cling to His cross,
and
then we say, let's go.
Yes.
But yes.
So well spoken, so well said, you know. to just saying I'm packing those things up. I'm not looking what's behind me. I'm looking forward. And so that's a beautiful thing. I love that.
I love that.
Rishmish, what does it mean to you to forgive and to be forgiven?
Wow. Well, I love that. To be forgiven. I'm gonna start with that. That's like how my mind works anyway. Like the end of the movie, I guess, at the beginning. To be forgiven is really something that I'm like coming into for myself, and it's making me even more aware of like how much unforgiveness I've had in my heart and how much resentment, bitterness have come, like Becky said, from just having experiences and not even being present enough in them to know how much they affected you. Knowing how much Jesus was affected by taking on all of my stuff and stuff I don't even know that I hurt him with or will do in the future, or how I'm ruminating and thinking about things in my mind of what happened to me and trying to process it when it's like it's already all been processed on the cross. And that's what I cling to, like she said, for me to be able to loose that thing quickly off of my mind or off of my heart, because a lot of the times those things that happen with unforgiveness change your heart, and that's what makes me be in unforgiveness longer, is because I'm so mad that I would allow the things that happened to me or that I did to someone to hurt them or me be hurt by it and then hold on to those things. Like we said, feelings ain't facts. So a lot of the times if you lead your life in your mind and you lead your life in your feelings, those are your anchors. There is no accountability from a father figure or mother figure because they're still working out their things. And a lot of the times I was processing things for other people when I had no business doing that. And I would beat myself up for not having the answers or not even knowing how to navigate in my own mind or my own heart. So just knowing that the forgiveness is always there no matter what. It's never going to be revoked, as Sister Rosie talked about. It's not conditional. That's something that's been freeing me, because I'm still in this thing of forgiving something recent that occurred, but something's always going to happen. It's like when people be like, I just got a lot going on. If I live a life of I just got a lot going on, then I'm never going to know what's going on for me on the other side of forgiveness and what it is to live, like to not be stuck, my bracelets, shameless plug again, stuck in my bag, not in my head. That I probably put real gold on these, because that's literally my experience. I've been living is stuck in my head and not knowing what even my bag is, not knowing that I have other options outside of unforgiveness and offense and bitterness and resentment and grudges and just things that you're not a petty person. You want to be kind, you want to be gentle, and you don't want to come off this way, but you still have the feelings that you have. And if you don't let them come and pass and you don't lay them at his feet like all the ladies talked about, you're going to be stuck. No matter what you do, you can sing it, you can pray, we heard the song from Solange, so it's like, hey, you can try everything that you can to try to free yourself and forgive yourself. But the only way that you're going to really be able to do that is with the forgiveness that you receive from Jesus Christ, and allowing that thing to happen within you, and then being able to take from that and apply it to any area of your life that you feel, man, I should have did this at the 20s or the 30s or 40s or 50s. It don't even be a person. It'd be your own self. It'd be your own self. So a lot of the times I really chop it up as like, man, I'm just mad at myself for this thing happening to me or being stuck over this thing. And it's like, man, if you just really want to be free, you want to be fly, and you really want to live a life where it's like, so much ease and so much peace, and having true success to me is having peace. And the only way to have peace is in Jesus. I really know that. I tried everything else. So when it comes to my answer to your question, it's like, man, like literally accepting the forgiveness that he gave us on the cross and the blood covering all of it, and really going back to that each time is really what's going to be the thing that sets me free every time I'm in bondage, because it's going to come back. Like deliverance can happen. You can still have the stronghold. And like Becky said, the new stronghold would be salvation and knowing that you can be free and knowing that peace is available to you when you forgive.
So now that you're in this stage and you know how huge forgiveness is, what do you know now that you didn't know then? Talk to your 9-year-old self.
Yeah, that's a good age. Y'all already know. Y'all know it, but the baby girls are still there.
Right.
But everything
that you have experienced and that you're experiencing right now and that you will is necessary.
Yes.
And anyone or anything that you would want to feel and have approval for, it's only leading you to the one that has already approved you and has a love that's established you. And holding on to what it was or what it could be is not going to equal that peace. So I would tell her, like, keep writing it out, keep journaling, but after that, crumble it up, throw it away. Keep making songs about it, but at the end of the day, don't have that be the lullaby that puts you to sleep. Like, really rest in God, Mish, and find it in Him, and it's in Him alone. And then it'll be in you too, and you can be able to give from that place, because who want to have somebody questioning if what you give to them is really what you want it to. If you could afford to give that to them, the love, the food, anything, it comes from a real place of forgiveness that people can really trust, and the first people being yourself as your people. Like what I say, my yes is my yes, and I mean it, and whatever the Lord said, He means that, and it's nothing that can change it. So I would say that forgiveness of self is big, but really receiving the forgiveness from Jesus is going to be it, because that self-love is not salvation. It's self-love is found in salvation, and that forgiveness is a key to open your door to that love.
Absolutely. I think that she would take that big advice and run on and see what the end gonna be. That's exciting. Baby girl, what would you tell your 13-year-old self about forgiveness?
Ooh. Okay. Don't worry about other people. Stay in the lane that you know you're supposed to stay in. Don't step aside or try to fit in. Be who you are, because you were set apart. All the other stuff was extra stuff. You should have stuck to who you knew that was for you, and not the ones that you knew would be against you in the end. Be who you are. Definitely be who you are. Nobody else is like you. You were always different. You were always separate from everybody else. Remember who you are and have strength in that. Have strength in you. Trust in the people who can lead you to God. Cling to your mother. Cling to your mother, and not fight her every step of the way, but cling to her.
That's big. Dexter, what would you tell your 5-year-old and 7-year-old self?
Dang.
And all these numbers are important in different avenues for them. Don't need what's known, don't need to be spoken. What would you tell?
Not the tears. Finally coming. Me started me off, and it just went down the line, y'all. Give me a second. That it's not always gonna be this rough. Oh Lord, that it's not always gonna be this tough for you. And like she said, I would tell little me, you know, you're set apart and you're different from your siblings. You're different from them, and it's for a reason. It's for your own good. You were removed from them for your own good. And the time you spent with them, mostly it wasn't for your good. But that's why you were removed from them. That's why you knew you were different from them. That's why you didn't want to be like them. But to also hang in there, because you still, although the hurt and although it was hard, you still had the love along the way, because you know God still is keeping you along the way. He's still putting people in your life that care about you, even if it's not your blood family. He's gonna make sure that you know that you are loved, and that you are so much more than what you may feel like in this moment. And even though you don't know what's happening now and it all seems confusing, just hang in there because the light's gonna come out. And also to if I could tell her this and have her grow up to know these things, I would tell her to let your light shine. Let the light in you that the Lord put in you to shine. Because you let just too many things affect you. And you weren't smiling as much as you could have been, and you weren't as happy or joyful as you could have been. You didn't enjoy your childhood as much as you could have. So with that being said, I would just say cling to those who really love you. Cling to who God shows you is for you. Like Shantae said, maybe stay in the house. Don't go do too much. And cling to because once you get to that age, you know, some things happen to you that you couldn't do anything about, and you couldn't change, and you can't take them back, but it still was all for your good, and it's all still gonna work out in the end. So and I love you, and you a fighter, and God kept you, so that's all you need to know.
And you cute.
And
your hair is combed. Smart.
You did grow up to be something.
Rosie, what advice would you give your 12 and 15-year-old self? Those are hard ages.
I said I wasn't gonna cry at a blue table. Right. I'm like, my eyes are sweating really bad, and I can't stop him. She's 12 and 15. 12 and 15, it was like, I would probably say, it's okay. Yeah. It's not as bad as it seems. Trouble doesn't last always. Yes. It's okay to be peculiar. Yeah. It's okay to not be the same as everybody else. You know, I definitely probably would have cleaved to my mom a little harder at that time, because it was like, girl, you are tripping. You know, but I would just definitely tell her that it's okay. Yeah. You're better than you think you are. Yeah. It's all going to work out. Yes. You don't understand now, but God is in this thing. Yes. He's here, and his hand is on you something heavy. Yes. And he has a plan, and he has a purpose, and he has a calling for you. Yes. And everything will work out. It doesn't look like it. It really doesn't look like it. It looks bad. It looks like everything is falling apart. Yeah. But God is going to come see about you. You are his elect. Yes. You might not know it now. Yeah. But God is going to come and check on his stuff. Yes. And he will come see about you. Yes. And I would probably just tell her, like, I would really want to emphasize that it's going to be okay. Yes. It don't look like it. Yeah. It doesn't look like it. But, you know, there's a process in the crushing. The crushing always produces something. Yes. So just hang on. Yes. You know, tough it out. As my dad would say, soldier up. Yeah. And just know that God is going to perfect that very thing that concerns you. Yes. Yes.
That's good advice right there. Yes. I want to leave you with weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. You have been with us at the Bloomies, the Bloom Table. Mm-hmm. I'm Sweet.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Dexter.
I'm Cupcake.
And I'm Mish. And we're out.
Bloomies!
Shut up, Martin. This is really stupid.
The Bloom Table.